season. So the regular season should be cracking. I still don't believe in y'all for the playoffs, but who am I? I'm just a
My
hood CV
God.
Nation. What's going on, bro? Thank you for being on, brother.
Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
It's mine, man. Like I said, I gave you a couple shout outs earlier, bro. So let me try to get you a proper introduction.
Of
We
course.
got a young CEO, young grinder, young entrepreneur who build businesses out of the mud. I got to read a couple articles on him earlier. Very well spoken. He gives glory to Christ. He's humble. So I see you headed a lot of places, especially just with your ambition and the way that you approach things. Shout out to my guy Mark Lyons for being the bridge, to
Appreciate you,
making
Mark.
this happen. Yes, sir. And he's another great guy, great basketball player. We'll save him for another day, but we're gonna have him on soon too. But
100%.
make sure I'm pronouncing your name right. We got my man Zac
Benalloul.
in the building.
Benalloul. Benalloul. Yeah,
Benalloul.
yeah, yeah.
First thing I want you to do, man, is just kind of introduce yourself, tell people, about your background, and then I'll get into asking questions. But you can kind of talk about whatever you want, whether it's sports, life, whatever. But obviously,
100%.
we're gonna zero in on sports for the questions.
Well, obviously, my name is Zachary Benalloul. I'm a full-time certified FIBA agent. I represent players all over the world internationally. Essentially, my job consists of negotiating their contracts, dealing with all of their problems, whether it be, problems with their apartment, problems with their teams. Just at the end of the day, just getting their stuff done day to day, and really just working for them, being their go-to guys. If you're buying an apartment or buying a stock, you know what I mean? That's the guy that they go to negotiate their deal, to just overall work for them.
Again, like I said, I appreciate it. Appreciate you showing up dapper. I'm on my Lakers thing right now. This is the Shaq LSU, so I couldn't put my suit on, but next
Yeah,
time I'm gonna put my suit on. I'm telling you. But
appreciate
once
it.
once again, bro, thank you for sitting in. So where you from, brother?
From New York City originally. Now I'm pretty much, I'm in between Tucson and Phoenix. I pretty much do all my operations out of here. But really New York, that's where everything started. That's where, we have most of our guys. We have a lot of our guys work out in the summer. So yeah, New York.
You choose U of A as your college of choice. I see you bear down. I'm from Arizona, born and raised, so I
100%.
represent most all things Arizona except the Lakers, obviously. You know what I mean? But what I
Yeah,
will say is between ASU and U of A, there's a huge rivalry.
huge
It goes
rivalry for
down
sure.
between the
Yeah,
Forks Up and the Bear Down. It ain't no love lost. Me, I
right.
got love for both of them. How does a kid and what borough are you from in New York City?
Manhattan. So really like the Big Apple, So I'm really in it. I mean,
Let's
here it's
get you.
definitely uh, for sure a different like culture and way of life. There's no doubt about it. Obviously, the transition has been it's a big difference. A lot of things went into my choice. I felt that it would be the best to navigate it here. It's a really big sports school. It's a really big sports state. I mean, now you see what's going on with the Suns. They have basically the whole NBA lining up to come and play for them. Um, and
Crazy.
so it was an absolute no brainer to come here. I'd say here, probably in Florida and California as well are easily the biggest sports states as far as the guys they're bringing out and the guys that are So
Down, but coming all the way from the East Coast to Arizona, the weather never almost scared you off, man. How do you deal with the Arizona summer coming from the East Coast?
man, honestly, I'm not too much. I'm not here too much in the summer. I have to deal with the Vegas heat in the summer, and that's tough to deal with. So uh, usually it's tough, but you know what? It's not the cold. Anything's better than the cold.
Shout out New York. I've only been out there, um, not too much, but yeah, it was a little New York City a little too fast paced for me. I
Uh,
like it right here on the West
yeah,
Coast.
it's a
But
good mentality to bring other places, though, for sure.
all right, now what about your own personal background in sports? Obviously, you're a sports agent. Did you play sports coming up? Like, what was that for you?
Honestly, yeah. Like I only played basketball. Um, I really wasn't very good, to be honest. I actually, just because of how hard I work, and I think it definitely translates to my agency business now. Um, I made the varsity team sophomore year of high school, and I like just wasn't conditioned enough to do practices every day. So once I ended off on the team, I was like, all right, the NBA shot, and I just started to, start my own agency. That's kind of how I
It's
pivoted into that.
good. To make varsity as a sophomore, I mean, unless you got some sort of special privilege, that means you're good. You know, you
Yeah,
you might not be NBA good or
yeah,
professional, but you got.
yeah,
I'll tell you this: I ain't never make a high school basketball team in my life, family. So you
yeah.
better than me. You know.
I hear you.
All right, now, how about your initial interest in becoming an agent? Like, like you got basketball players who've been doing this since they was 6, or boxers who've been doing this since they was a kid. Like, is this something you've always loved, or what did your initial interest peak in it? Was it
Um,
just a business thing? Like,
honestly, like it started sort of from a younger age, just like being so obsessed. Like when, honestly, LeBron, Wade, and Bosh played in Miami. Like growing up watching that and always cheering for the Heat. Still to this day, I love the Heat. Um, like that kind of is what brought me more so to the business. Always looking at people like Pat Riley, who went through all ranks in this business, and that was definitely a part of it. My bar mitzvah tutor, shout out to him, Daniel Hazan. He was an agent as well. So getting to see him as at a young age kind of also helped pique my interest in doing it. And at the end of the day, that's kind of how I wanted to do it. Just knowing I felt this is the most vital um, part of this business. You know what I mean? What goes behind the players and like each of them, you almost feel like you're with them. You know what I mean? When some of my guys go overseas, like I feel like I'm like because you're on their team at the end of the day. So like it's great to see the growth that you can have on these guys' lives who aren't playing on the NBA level, but playing at the same level of guys that are you know who are in the NBA. You know what I mean? Or were there and now have to play overseas to provide for their family every month. And so it's very good to be able to really help these guys.
and how about when you actually got into like launching your agencies? Like, I mean, I obviously know it's been a success for you, but like, what was that journey like? And then even give us some of the difficulties that kind of came with that.
Well, definitely, it was tough to get it off the ground. Really, I started it all through my Instagram page, Benalloul Sports Management. I basically was just, you know, reaching out to guys and being like, hey, listen, I'll do whatever you need. Like, and these weren't guys who were playing pro. These are guys who and there's a lot of them out there that I just, at this point, like it's tough to help some of them. That you'll have guys who will go to like semi-pro workouts and go to G League tryouts, and you'll have like 250, 300, 400 guys who are
They
going
get
out to
that
these
far.
things and just doing everything they can to get seen and get an opportunity so that they can, move and try to play overseas or try to play in the G League. So, through finding guys like that who were, sort of not there, and then being able to send a guy to Dominican Republic and being able to send a guy to Colombia and send a guy to Saudi Arabia and just continue, that trend is kind of when, we really started off. And then, we got signing like Glenn Davis, who played with the Celtics for years, and we signed Ty Lawson, and then we signed, and now obviously we have the guys that we have and have worked with who we've worked with, but it was all like a building process. It's at the end of the day, it's all about getting 1% better each day. Like Rome wasn't built overnight. Not every day are you going to sign, you know, somebody in China or somebody in Puerto Rico, but as long as you just stay consistent with it over time. And I think that's for anything, you know what I mean? It can be this business, any business, if you, anything in life, like if you just continue to work at it each and every day and just try to get better, like you're going to end up succeeding.
Grounded you are, and the fact that you're not afraid to fail in order to succeed, you're going to go very far. Simple and plain. The mindset that
100%.
you have automatically separates you from the 90% of, a lot of people it's like a maze. You run into a wall and then you don't know where to go from there. but I can
No,
see you always looking for it. So you're gonna always find
I
it.
think
It's
I
simple and
think what
plain.
it is, and even when I started, I didn't even tell guys my age. I didn't feel it was necessary. But even I think a lot of people just in general, not even at like, in business or not in business, like in life, I feel like people are just scared of hearing no. You know what I mean? But when you hear no, it teaches you how to reapproach a situation and then how to do it better the next time. So at the end of the day, when you can just be resilient and keep going and going and going and going, like you're going to end up successful. You know what I mean? And a lot of people have that difficulty. And that's why in this business, like there's really only 400, 500 agents, and especially in basketball. Forget about, I know football, there's more, but, in basketball, there's only 400, 500 agents.
Okay. And I want to keep giving you kudos for sure, because I'm telling you, your mindset is definitely what's going to separate you and shoot you to whatever goals that you're looking for. Like that sort of mindset to where, like, I know you're not a salesman, but I'd probably buy something from you if you was selling it. 'Cause
I
I'm
appreciate
telling you.
that.
All right. So how did you obtain your first client? And you can give him a shout out. Like, how was that? I read an article on you
Um,
earlier. You said you reach out to people through DM. Like, how did your first client come to you?
my first real client um, was Tony Mitchell. He uh, he played at North Texas. He also played in he's played all over the world. He played in Israel. He played in the Philippines. He played in China. He played in pretty much everywhere. So I reached out to him on Instagram one year. Probably it was actually during COVID, so it was right when COVID happened, and all guys were at home. So this is when I really started, and I was reaching out to a bunch of guys. So I reached out to him. He told me his situation. He was dealing with a problem with his passport. I helped him out. Um, I ended up getting to send him to Mexico, but I basically just told him what I was about. I was like, I'm young, starting my agency. And I was like, look, I'm never going to promise you anything I can't do. I'm going to promise you hard work, and I'm going to promise you I'm going to bust my ass every single day for you. And with that, he was like, all right, you know what? I'll give you a shot. And then I ended up helping him get this job in Mexico. He brought his family down there. He really got to help his family with this deal, and it was great. It was great. So that's the guy who really helped start me off, and also taught me a lot about the business, and that's what I did. How I learned this business was through players and talking to them about their difficulties and their experiences, and how there were problems with their former agents, and being able to do that with guys who made it to the top and now we're not there anymore is great, because you really get to know what it was like when they were with Wasserman and we're with Clutch Sports Group and we're getting drafted, and it's all the way down for sure, and that's how the business is.
And like I said, I got to keep giving you these ground. Like, and this is a funny question that I didn't write down. Was there, like, do you have a strict father? Like, were you raised by a strict father? The way you carry
Honestly,
yourself is amazing.
not strict, but like he taught me what he needed to teach me. Both my parents, like, love them both. I know they're probably watching. Like, they both really supported me through this, and when I started, it was different. I was like, I was in high school, sophomore, junior year, like starting my own business. Everybody's laughing at me. Like, it was like, for some people, they thought I was a joke, and we'll talk about haters in a minute, but like, there's nothing you can do about them. But at the end of the day, it's like people thought it was a joke until I signed this guy, that guy, that guy, this guy. And then I'm, here and there. And it's like they believed in me all the way. So having their support is vital for sure.
Super proud of your success. So, because I believe that people with, first of all, that perseverance, the mindset, like I said, to fail, to succeed, like, I love seeing that. And with you, it just resonates, man. So your trajectory is to the moon. So, and you gave a couple of names a minute ago, but I was already going to ask, who are some NBA clients that you've represented, former NBA, whatever the case
Um,
may be?
so I ended up helping send Hassan Whiteside and Brandon Knight down to Puerto Rico. Lance Stevenson, Ed Davis, who I'm currently representing. He played 12 years in the NBA. Ty Lawson, Donald Sloan, obviously Tony Mitchell. We've got a good amount of guys who've done their time in the league. Nick Wiggins. So we've had our fair share of guys for sure. Yeah.
I, honestly, I'm a super NBA fanatic, so I know every name that you named, like,
Yeah.
and I don't know what the end goal is, but I see you ending up signing whoever the top prospect is soon. So keep doing that. But all
I
right, now
appreciate that.
becoming FIBA certified, what does that entail, and like, what does it grant you access to? Like, if you're at the Olympics, are you able to, go out there and scout, or how does that work? Like, what does
So
being a FIBA
FIBA
certified agent entail?
FIBA is essentially, so the NBA, you have the NBPA, right, which is the National Basketball Players Association. So if you're certified by the NBPA, you pay a certain fee a year. You have to take a test. I think it's in New York. You take the test. You do the test. You have to pass the test. Obviously, it's not easy. Um, it's a similar process for FIBA. I had to essentially study for this test. I studied maybe almost a month. Went down to Miami, took the test. I think I got like 24 out of 25. I think I got one question wrong just because I was a little nervous. And for sure, I was the youngest in the room, but I took the test, I passed it, and I pretty much got the FIBA license. And now I pay a fee every year, and I'm allowed to negotiate the contract. I'm allowed to be on the contract. And, you even have a lot of people in this overseas business who just aren't certified, but they have to use somebody else's. So sometimes I have to also come in, like my partner, even in Asia, he always needs to use my FIBA license. So I help him with that. Like I'll always help guys, figure out their problems with contracts and whatnot. So yeah.
Not have it down, but you're written down. But you're such an amazing guy. I got different questions. Like, where all have you been around the world at this young age of yours?
I mean, I've been in a lot of places, not enough places, honestly. I haven't been able to travel as much. Honestly, the reason being is just because I'm in school, basically full time, and like being that I'm here so much, like there's only so many places I'm able to go. But every summer I'll go to Vegas for summer league. I went to Israel last year to obviously see my guys. Obviously, prayers for Israel, prayers for everything going on in the Middle East right now. I got to go see all my guys, go out with them, have fun with them. And I've gotten to go around Dominican Republic. I've seen a few of my guys in Mexico before. So I've definitely gotten to go around. Not enough, obviously, with COVID and just everything that goes on a daily, like it's been tough, but for sure, definitely want to get out
Your
more.
graduation year was probably the COVID year, right? Or one of those COVID years?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Mm,
Now, this question I'm very
yeah.
interested in. Who are some agents that you look up to, not just in NBA, FIBA, but just across sports in general? And if you could give us like a reason why with each name that you look up to.
Agents I look up to, probably less current. Um, David Falk, who's Michael Jordan's agent, he definitely changed the game for sure. One of the more, I would say, low-key guys that had a huge impact on how contracts are negotiated and how things are kind of done in this business. He helped renegotiate the CBA for the NBA, which is like huge. And so he's definitely somebody. Obviously, Rich Paul is very influential. I like the way how he's so close to almost all of his players. I think to have that relationship is very important because the relationship that like even some of my guys and I have, like it's family. You know what I mean? For some of them, like they're the guy you go to in any situation. You know what I mean? I've gotten all the problems, all the social issues, whatever, anything. So always having clients that feel they can always talk to you is what builds such a great relationship. And I think anybody that does this business should have that kind of relationship with who they're working with, without a doubt. Because when you're in business with somebody and stuff hits the fan, at least the guy who's working for you cares about you. So that's a very, very important thing.
Have written down. Have you been media trained? Because you
No,
answer questions like a player.
no, I have not. This is all straight from me. I promise. All of it.
Wherever you got your education from, the New York education system, I'm gonna shout it out.
It's the
This guy.
New York street. It's the New York street swagger. That's all it is, man.
I'll take a bacon, egg, and cheesy with that. All right, look. Now, this question is a little more on the other side. How about any times you've been fired by a client and like why? Like, was it just maybe you couldn't get a deal? How does that part work?
Obviously it happens. It happens, players come, players go. It's a part of the business. Sometimes you have disagreements about things and that can happen. At the end of the day, we're all people, we're all human. And a lot of these guys in a lot of situations are under a lot of stress, for whatever reason. And the agent's gonna take a lot of the heat for that a lot of the time. So I mean, there's been times where I've been fired. There's been a lot of times where guys will fire me. Either I'll get a job for them, talk to them, and then they come back to us, or they'll reach back out like, yo, I'm upset the way things ended up. And it can even happen over years. Like we had a guy who fired us 2 years ago. He tried something out with somebody else and it didn't work out. And then he gave me a call. He was like, Zach, I don't know if you want to continue, but I'd like to come back. And I was like, yep. And, we just re-signed him. And now we just signed a deal to go play in Egypt. And, so these are things that happen. You know what I mean? It can happen in any business, and life. You know what I mean? You can stop talking to somebody for a year and then all of a sudden you're back talking to them every day. So like this stuff happens, it's hard to be super emotional about it because obviously you put a lot of work in and you care about the person sometimes. And it for sure impacts, how you feel about them at times. So, it happens though, for sure. It definitely happens.
You can even take a question like that and kind of explain a story where the failure ended up as success.
Yeah. And
And
I
funny,
mean,
one of the
there's times
comments,
it's not always going to be perfect. Nothing is in life and especially in this business, but
it's not personal. If you're not a jerk, you know what I mean, or anything to anybody or do bad business with people, it's not personal. So they're always going to come back to you because I can tell you're the type of guy that's going to leave the relationship in a good place versus the person who always
100%,
got to burn bridges with somebody, and that's
100%.
the bad business for sure. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I can see you selling real estate. I don't know if you're into that, but for
My
absolute
parents do
sure.
real estate, so it makes sense.
Not even surprised, even a little bit. All right, so how about? And this is just more of a thought process for you. Like, do you have any dream clients or like somebody that you hope to represent, whether they're an older player or somebody who might be coming up? That's like, man, if I could work
Ah,
with that dude, man, like,
man, it's hard to name a guy, just because it's like it's tough to. Like I can't really put a point on it, but probably I would say the dreamer, not necessarily the dream, but the goal is obviously, to represent a few NBA All-Stars, represent one superstar. I think that overall is the long distance goal of all of this groundwork because a lot of this is mostly groundwork. Obviously the goal is, to get to that NBA level, get guys who are consistently playing in the NBA. Being able to turn on the TV and be like, that's my client right there. He's going to call me after this game is a very good feeling, I feel like. So that, and I watch a lot of my guys' games who even play overseas. I'm always rooting them on, telling them what I see, telling them, you know what I mean? Because it's important to at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely the goal. Have a plethora of
Bronny
really
James
high
on
level
Ben
NBA players.
in the low sports magazine. Rich Paul, come on, brother. All right. All right. So now I want you to talk to me like I'm a 5-year-old kid, man. Like I'm growing up. I want to be an agent. What do I do? Like, how do I get my start to be an agent if that's what I want to do?
Well, man, everyone's path is definitely different. My path is definitely not a common one to start everything through social media and build everything from the ground up. You know, Obviously you can go and, work for agencies, apply for internships, try to get your foot in the door, see how the agency business works. I think those things are important. I got to do something similar I worked for a company called 1010 Sports and Entertainment for about a year and a half before I branched off and really started doing my own thing. Being able to gain that experience with another agency definitely helped in not, it didn't impact on the guys I worked with because a lot of the guys I worked with there ended up coming over, but it definitely impacted my knowledge on the industry, how things work, how contracts are negotiated, being able to, kind of communicate with teams and players and just everybody in general. So, that kind of helped tailor um, who I am today and how I work on a daily basis with guys. So that definitely that definitely is what pushed me
Really no
further for
straight
sure.
answer or no straight approach. You kind of just
No,
gotta
and
you
this
gotta be a
business
hustler.
is, yeah, and this business is a very, very slimy and it's a hard one, and no matter what you do, if you have success, even me, like I've got a lot of older agents who are not a huge fan of me and will try to do things to alter what me and my guys have going on. But at the end of the day, when you're doing good business and you're working well and you're actually helping these guys continue to build their career and be successful and be able to make money, like that's all that matters. And that's why the guys who work, and have played in the league for so long respect me because they know I work, they know I keep it 100, and they know at the end of the day I'm going to do what's right for them.
PG, but other guys bother you. All right, so what's the difference between a good agent and a bad agent in your opinion?
Well, look, I mean, it's hard to define between, and I will say this, right? Every agent, depending on the player they're representing and their circumstance, it's going to be a different outcome. You know what I mean? Um, but again, you'll have some agents who can do a better job for certain guys than other agents can in certain markets, in certain places. And for sure, it impacts a lot of the business because the agents all feel they're the best, right? I mean, that's the norm, right? Every agent's going to say, sign with me because I can do X, Y, Z. Um, and at the end of the day, it's all trial and error. Um, but I would say the difference between a bad agent and a good agent is an agent that will just send their player anywhere just to collect the check rather than an agent that focuses on what the player wants to do. You know what I mean? If the player wants to, be able to go and play in Asia or play in Europe, and maybe he wants to go play in Europe and he can only make, 5,000 a month in Europe, but there's a deal in the Middle East for him for 10,000 a month. So a lot of agents will say, all right, well, I'm just going to send him here and that's going to be it. But next year he can't really go anywhere from that. Whereas a good agent, or, just I'd say this as an example, an agent will say, all right, let's go to Europe. Let's try. If all fails, then we take that step after. But again, it just depends on the certain agent and what their approach is. I'd say you have some agents who will have a lot of guys. I see this mainly on the NBA end. Well, they'll have a lot of guys who are very close to making it to the league, but once they, need to start going overseas, their agents don't even know what to do. They barely know overseas teams. They barely know how it works. And then you'll have a lot of guys who will end up in awful situations overseas. It's their first time going over. They don't know what to expect. They don't know what's going to happen. And I'd say that's the difference between me and most. And that's why I definitely, fit in with those guys who are, dropping out and need to start going overseas because I have most of my guys overseas and I know what they need to know and what to expect, whereas a lot of the guys who
Oh,
come
sorry,
out of the
sorry, go ahead.
league, they don't really know. And their agent will just send them and they'll just figure it out when they get there.
Amazing, like humble spirit and your ambition, your ability connect and network past the business, actually probably get to know these guys, like how you gave Rich Paul props for getting to know them. That's probably what's going to keep you with building your client list, with getting those marquee clients, because you actually care about them. And I can feel that even just coming through the screen. And that's
I
amazing. Like
care
I'm
about them and I care about their career. And that's what's important. You know what I mean? You have a lot of agents who care about their players. They don't really care about their careers. You know what I mean? And I'm never afraid, and I tell all my guys this all the time. I'm going to tell you what the real is. Whether you like it or don't, I'm going to tell you what it is. And even myself, I had to learn how to do that because you have to do that. That's the only way you'll be successful. And if things don't work out for you, so be it. But at the end of the day, you got to keep it 100.
Look, you got me asking questions I didn't write down, but I'm telling you, this is conversation, man. I'm a conversationalist. I'm a
Of
communicator.
course.
So certain things, I'm an attentive listener. So as you talk, I start thinking of things. I know you probably heard the Austin Reeves story, where Austin Reeves could have got drafted in the second round, but he told his agent, let's pass on this. Let's pretty much go with the Lakers free agent option. And it ended up panning out for him. What do you do as an agent in that instance? Or how do you feel? Do you push him to sign, or do you go with the client wants? Like, and do you
Well,
see his vision?
um, I definitely see the vision on that. Again, I think it's all about making sure you have something guaranteed. And that's what I tell all my guys. It's like, you need to have the guarantees. You need to always go with the guarantees. And that's how I negotiate everything. When things are guaranteed, it removes all room for doubt and all room for error. And at the end of the day, if you have something guaranteed and his agent knew that the Lakers were going to sign him 100%, I would do the same thing in that position, because at the end of the day, it's much better for my client's family and himself and myself. So I would stand with him on that decision for sure.
Questions, man. So I know you're at college, you're at U of A right now, bear it down. Shout out all the U of A greats and everything like that. But let's say when you're out of college, like how much travel really goes into being an agent and a scout? And like could the average family man do it? Like, or is it like being like for a woman, like
It's
what do they
hard.
call it? A flight attendant, like
It's hard, it depends on the agent, but it's hard. It's a lot of traveling. Um, Especially if you're really making an effort to go see your guys on a consistent basis and watch them play here and watch them play in Brooklyn. And then you have to go see your other guy play in Denver. And then you have to go see, overseas, you can forget about that because that's, you're going to Europe, you're going country to country to country to country. And agents do it for sure. It's quite a trip, but it happens, you know what I mean? And I'm yet to do it in Europe or Asia, but definitely will happen soon. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's the life you choose. It's a different business than most. But once you hit it big in this business, you're set up for the rest. That's how it works. So I've gotten to know that just from the short time that I've been around a
league
lot of
in a
different
couple
people.
years, but I used to go a lot. And last time I went was with DJ. Shout out Derek. That's my guy.
Oh yeah,
He's
yeah,
an agent too.
yeah,
But
of
yeah,
course,
so I might go with you next year for sure. But
hundred
all right.
percent.
I appreciate you sitting here taking all these serious questions. I mean,
I
like I said,
appreciate
you're a
you
well-rounded
giving them to me.
individual. You know how to articulate yourself. You're media trained. I mean, you could almost be a player yourself. But all right, so I just got a couple more questions, but
For
they a
sure.
little more not so much into the business. So, who's your favorite NBA team? I know you said you like the Heat earlier. Is that who it is?
That's who it is. Yeah, 100%. Miami Heat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll keep
Makes
that on
sense.
the down low, but for my New Yorkers.
So it only makes sense. They kind of resonate with your personality. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
All right.
Listen,
Who?
at the end of the day, I live off of exceeding expectations. I've been doing it all my whole life, and it's how I continue to live my life. I've always been a guy who's always exceeded the expectation in anything I do, and that's why I feel that a lot of my guys really relate to me and love me because that's what I push for them. I'll always push to exceed what everybody else thinks or wants.
I really shout out to you. I might call you after this just because that's how much. Yeah, you cool, man. All right. Who's the GOAT?
To go, man, this is a tough question, honestly. Um, and this might cause people to be surprised that I'm saying this. Jordan's the go, and the
I'm
reason being
surprised.
the reason being that Jordan's the go is because LeBron hasn't retired for 2 years to go play baseball and came back and won 3 championships after that. If LeBron was able to do something like that, then I would say no doubt it's LeBron. As far as the most skilled player to ever play the game of basketball, LeBron James, hands down. But as far as the GOAT, Jordan. They were fouling hard back then, too.
Kobe. Kobe is the most skilled player. I try to show you my tattoo on the wrong
Oh,
arm,
I
but
love
look,
Kobe.
my daughter
Shout
went
out
and bought
Kobe,
me all the
man.
rings.
Oh,
You know what I'm
wow.
saying?
Oh,
Rest in
wow.
peace to
Okay.
GOAT. You know
Rest
what
in
I'm saying?
peace.
But when it comes to skill, and I could always over articulate myself on actual analysis, Kobe was way more skilled than LeBron. LeBron's more of a force who could pass the ball, and he got
I
more
don't
core vision,
know.
but Kobe got more skill. But we're saying that.
Prime
I ain't gonna do it
LeBron. Prime LeBron was unstoppable on the court. Unstoppable.
to you. Unstoppable, yes, but skilled. LeBron was raw. And for a while, I think LeBron didn't even develop his skills till like the second year on the Heat.
That's true because he was with the Heat, so it makes sense.
Think he was raw until then, but we'll say that. All right,
Yeah.
finals picks from you for this year. Who's gonna play in the NBA Finals?
Ah, man. I have to say my Heat, but no, I'll keep it honest. I don't think the Heat are going to the finals right now because they didn't do what they needed to do this summer. I would say Boston, although I can't stand Boston, and Denver. What? No, I think Boston. I think Boston. I think this is Boston's year. They've been so close each and every year. I think they've got it this year.
Page, because it's crazy, and I hate to say this on live in front of, and I hate to say it in general. I picked the Celtics to win it this year too.
100%.
Honestly.
I mean, listen, every year, they're so close, they're so close, they're so close. Now the difference is they have their same core. I mean, they lost a couple very vital pieces, but at the end of the day, like to add on Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis is unbelievable. I don't know how their front office, the magic that they're working. I don't know what they're doing in there, but like they're doing a great job.
I hate to say it, and I hope I'm wrong, but that's just my analytical side.
hope
I
too,
literally
but
I
I
picked
don't.
Boston too.
Yeah,
I think Boston's a favorite, but and Bucks are close. My man just dropped a comment said Bucks, but
I
I
think
think
Bucks are
before Boston got
close,
Drew
but
Holiday,
yeah,
I would have took the Bucks. Drew Holiday kind of put it over the top for me.
yeah, because now they can guard any vital guard in the league for sure, and they've got the size to 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 alter Denver for sure.
Defender in the league to me, one-on-one defender, and that's funny. He's good friends with DJ. But all
Yeah,
right.
he is.
So, like I said, man, I appreciate you. One final question, just because, like I said, I read an article on you earlier, and you gave a lot of glory to Christ, and I like that. So, what dive into your connection with God and how that's kind of helped you
Overall,
in
well,
your
I'm Jewish.
journey.
I'm actually Jewish, so I'm very connected with God. I think it's always important, not that I'm the most religious person ever, but I think it's always important to, kind of be faithful and also be, thankful for what you have and know that, there's somebody above that obviously brought that onto earth. So I'm very prayerful consistently. I pray, I wrap the fill in every single day. Um, so I'm a very faithful Jew. I go to synagogue when I can. So at the end of the day, that's it's important to me. So I think for a lot of people, like being faithful is a big thing, and we also try to bring it within our agency for sure.
And so, keep doing what you're doing. You shouldn't have no problem.
I
Now, at any time, if
appreciate
you
it,
choose
man.
to switch up, I can't give you no advice on that. You know what I'm saying? But hey, like I said, man, I've been doing interviews for a while. You're my first interview back while I've been kind of dropping the sports content. So, what I do want to actually, let's read this comment. If players are seeking reputation, how should a player reach out, and what do you look for most when choosing a player to represent? So, that's a common
That's a
question.
common question. Okay, so if players are seeking representation, they can always reach out directly to our page or to our email, or through WhatsApp. That's usually always the best way. We'll look through their resume, obviously, try to give them a good look. Um, what we're looking for is obviously the real, you know, overall goal of representing them. You know what I mean? If we feel that we can obviously help them continue to build their career and feel there's something there, then it's something we'll look into and obviously speak to the player and talk over with our team. Um, and if not, it's not something that we really, look into. And we have other people that our agency works with that we'll usually always send them over to see whatever we can do to help. But normally, yeah, we look over the player, we'll do a deep review and analysis and just see what our goal is of representing them.
Bad question, but yeah, bro. Like I said, shout out to you, man.
I
I was kind of just gonna give you your
appreciate you having me
flowers
on, man.
once again. Yeah, I'll be talking to Mark soon. I got to let him know what a remarkable guy you
100%.
are. And
Mark,
like I
thank you, brother.
said, you in Arizona, so we could always get together. We could do something. That's no problem.
1,000%.
And we'll absolutely keep up, man. So thank you for being on the show. I will get
Thank
with
you,
you
man.
soon. Thank y'all for everybody who tuned in on live. We'll have some clips coming on YouTube tomorrow. Shout out to y'all. And let me say,
Take
Zac
care.
Benalloul Sports
Yes,
Agency.
sir.
Y'all going to hear a lot about him, man. A lot about him. Over the next 5, 10, 20 years, bro, you're going to be a billionaire. I guarantee it. Shout out to you.
I appreciate that. Take care, man.